Hey guys, welcome to our weekly community AMA. Glad you guys could join. Got a lot of stuff to share with you guys today. A lot of alpha to drop and a lot of new stuff to demo for you guys. Let's drop the alpha. Let's go. All right, let's jump right into it. So first things first, something major is around the corner. I can't say exactly what it is, and I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. It's out of my control, but I can tell you that I've been doing a lot personally to prepare myself, and that the way that I'm preparing is I'm positioning myself with positions, and I'll get into that, as well as building out a lot of tooling and websites, like you see on the screen right now, to facilitate and to best take advantage of what is coming in the immediate future. So I'm going to let you guys know how I've been preparing and how you guys can prepare as well. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So I was planning on dropping this website on you guys today at the AMA. I did release it a little bit earlier, just because a couple other things that are going on in the background. It happened a little bit quicker than I expected. So I did kind of release this a couple days ago, and I've have the link on the Blue website to go to gblue.xyz. For anyone that missed that in the Telegram, basically what gblue.xyz is it's a very focused version of the Blue website, right? So again, if anybody missed the last couple AMAs, I'll just go over real quick that obviously Blue is our Olympus DAO fork, auto compounding fort every 4 hours. If you stake your Blue for gblue or sblue, you automatically earn rebases every 4 hours. And just, within the last couple of weeks, we've taken this next level by having dual stack rewards, meaning that you can be earning your rebases every 4 hours, but then on top of that, you can also take your gblue and earn on Aborian, which is on Abstract. Now, we have all the functionality that you need to do all this is available on the main Blue website that you see right here. But yeah, specifically for Abstract, there's a bit too much going on this site. So like for the audience that we're targeting, that's going to take Blue to the next level, we needed a website that was more streamlined, that was more focused around the core offering, that was a little bit less confusing and less things going on the site. So for all you guys that are advanced users, like you can definitely still do everything that you want to do right on the main Blue website. There's even some new stuff that you can do on the Blue website that I'm going to demo for you guys. But again, yeah, gblue.xyz is an abstract focus site that really just gets rid of all of, I guess, the noise. If you're just looking to, earn your dual stack rewards, which is, the most beneficial thing that you can do, all you really need is you need gblue and you need to get into the Aborian gblue ETH LP. And you can do that all with extreme ease on the gblue.xyz website. Some special stuff has been built into this website. So just to really accommodate the Abstract user base, some special stuff has happened. So, one thing that you can see is, just to show you guys, we've integrated the Abstract global wallet to the fullest that we can. So what that means is, some really minor things like, you can see my Abstract name up here. You can see I have an Aborian badge on Abstract, so I use that as my image. So, that's integrated into the site. That's, just a nice touch to make the Abstract guys feel more at home. But some of the cool things that we've done that you can do with AGW, and actually, let me just rewind just a little bit there. So Abstract recently passed, I think it's 150 million transactions they've processed since mainnet went live. I believe it was 60 or 61% of those transactions that were done through their Abstract global wallet. So this is definitely by far the most popular wallet on the chain. So it's best that we integrate that as deeply as we can. So I'm gonna show you guys like some of the cool things that you can do with Abstract global wallet. And again, you can do all these things with any wallet. It's a little bit more of a streamlined process when you're using Abstract global wallet. So well, I guess, first let's just go over the site, I guess, and just, look at what's available here and what information it has. Again, this is laser. Is there sound? Is there a problem with sound? Can you guys hear? There should be sound. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Loud and clear. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Everyone's ready to go. All right. So, where was I? Yeah. So again, the main benefits of Blue, like, is the new features that we've released, which is like the dual stack reward. So again, G Blue super focused on that and gives you nothing that you don't need, and just the information that you need to be able to kind of, understand the opportunity and take full advantage of it. So, we got a website, basic dashboard with some basic stats, why you'd want to use G Blue on Abstract. And again, for all you guys that have been around, you guys are all familiar with all these advantages, but we just need to make this as obvious and simple as possible for the masses that are going to be seeing this in the near future. How G Blue works, the G Blue chart, which is, holding very steady despite the somewhat rocky broader markets. And yeah, just, a very simple, well put together site is really what the goal was here. When you come over to the Zap tab, that's where you see some cool functionality. So we do have Zap on the main Blue website. You'll see that, we have ETH native, wrapped ETH and G Blue that you can zap in. You have all of those same functionalities here, but you got a couple extra things that you can do here. So, of course, you can zap from ETH, you can zap from G Blue. So one of the cool things that is an AGW, or Abstract Global Wallet advantage, is you'll never ever do a token approval on this website if you use AGW, which again is the majority of Abstract users. So because it's a smart contract wallet, we have the ability to batch transactions together. So if you're, say, for example, zapping some G Blue into the LP, you don't need to do an approval and then the actual transaction. It'll bundle those all together in one. Now, I know for you guys, that might not be that big of a deal. You do a max approval and you never have to think about it again. But just for the average consumer, and again, Abstract is like a very consumer focused blockchain. We really want to take as much friction away as possible. So, I think not having the approval is it's an advantage for sure. And also, of course, the Abstract team wants to see us implement as many AGW advantages as we possibly can. And that's what we've been doing. So, minor advantage there, you can zap without having to do an approval. You guys are probably thinking, okay, it's not that big of a deal, but it gets better. We do have swapping here. This is just like your regular swap. You can swap ETH to G Blue. You can swap G Blue to ETH. And again, if you're using AGW, you're never going to do an approval there. Now, Zapout is a feature that the G Blue. Actually, I guess I have to take back something I said a little bit earlier when I said you can do. I said anything that you can do on the G Blue site, you can do on the regular Blue site. So I guess that's not 100% true, because we do have Zapout available on the gblue.xyz site. And that's something that I can add that to the Blue site. I haven't done it yet. But this is where things get really cool. So you guys that have used Zap, and you're probably familiar, we have this option here to auto stake the LP in the gauge. This is a feature that's built into the Aborian router. So, we didn't deploy any contracts for this stuff. This is all using like Aborian contracts. So essentially, if you're zapping in from ETH or G Blue, you have the option of receiving the LP tokens yourself, or the LP tokens getting auto staked in the gauge. And that's all built-in functionality of Aborian. So we didn't have to do anything special to make that happen. When it comes to zapping out, though, it's a little bit different, because there is no Aborian function to zap out from a staked position. You can only zap out if the LP is actually in your wallet. So what you would need to do, if we didn't do anything special here, is you'd have to come over here. You'd have to, I'll go over this page in a minute, but you'd have to, withdraw your LP tokens. So, I got 4 LPs in here. I can, withdraw 1 LP, and then from there, I'd be able to zap out. But because AGW, Abstract Global Wallet, supports batching transactions, what we did is you can actually zap out in a single transaction from a staked position. So what that's doing is in a single transaction that is doing a withdrawal from the gauge, it's doing an approval on the LP to the router, and it's doing a zap out all together in one. And I'm not going to submit this, but I'm just going to show you guys. So, because obviously I'm not going to zap out of my position. That'd be crazy. But so I got 4 LPs that you can see that are staked in the gauge. If I go to wallet, you can see I got 0 in my wallet, but I got 4 in the gauge. So if I go 1 here and I want to zap out to GBlue because I'm bullish on GBlue. So let me see how I can show you guys this. One sec. Trying to think of a good way I can put this on the screen real quick. You know what? That's probably more difficult than it's worth. Anyways, I basically have a confirmation that popped up for Abstract Global Wallet that is basically just showing that I'm going to receive. So it's actually a little bit higher than the estimate. The preview that I'm seeing of the transaction shows that I'm going to receive 40.75 GBlue, not a little bit more than what the estimate is here. So this is like no barrier to entry. Like there's, you know, it's basically as simple as possible. You can enter into the LP in a single transaction. You can exit out of the LP in a single transaction. You can do everything right on the GBlue site. And if you're using AGW, everything gets batched together in one transaction. You'll never have to do 2 transactions to accomplish anything with this. So it's really, really special. This also works if you're not doing AGW. It's just going to do it in separate transactions. So you can see here it says batched. That's because I'm on an AGW wallet. If you are on a traditional wallet, it's just going to say multi-TX, which basically just means it's going to unstake. And then if you need the approval, it's going to prompt for the approval. If you've already done an approval, then it won't do that. And then it will submit the zap out transaction after that. So, I mean, you even if you don't use AGW, you still get, you know, to take advantage of these features. It's just not quite as streamlined in terms of how many transactions it is. So yeah, I mean, so this page basically just in one simple page here, it has all the options to be able to get in, get out, swap, whatever you need to do really. Earn page. This page is not too different from the one that we have on the Blue website, the main Blue website. You know, you can see your yield. You know, we had a nice bump in APR due to getting a bunch of extra votes this epoch. I expect next epoch to be even higher. So, you know, that yield's going to keep climbing. Our TVL is up over 100K now. So great job, everybody in the community. We've been doing a great job building that liquidity up. And yeah, we just got a very simple page here. Talks a little bit about the dual stack rewards, but I guess most of it is in the, you know, just some basic stats. It breaks down your position. I got a question here. Any link to that AGW wallet? Yep. So I'll post that in the chat, but I'll also show you here. So it's portal.abs.xyz. So you would have to sign up. You can just sign in with like a Google account or an email address. It's basically just like a smart contract wallet, and you can get that going. And there's a bunch of like perks of using AGW. So I mean, like you can earn XP, which is, you know, very likely to be rewarded with something nice in the future. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a great experience. Like if I want to like check something out on my phone, or I, you know, like I don't know, for me, especially on my phone, I just love using AGW. It's just so it's just so easy to use. But yeah, let me post that link in the chat for you guys. The best tree fertilizer is blue. Yes, sir. What's up, Peter? Good to see you. Yep. So so that's a pretty much a summary of the GBlue website. And, you know, like I mentioned at the beginning of the AMA, you know, there's a strong reason why I'm building out this tooling for Blue, and why I'm, you know, built this site that's so focused for Abstract, because, you know, I think I know that Abstract is going to be the way that we're going to take Blue to the next level. And you'll understand that a lot more when this big catalyst occurs that is coming in the near future. So yeah, this is one of the ways I've been preparing is, you know, I'm building this site. You know, I built something else that I'm going to show you guys in a minute. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything about that. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the GBlue site. So The other thing is, so I'm going to show you guys a feature that I built that's available on the Blue website for arbing. This makes it super simple to arbitrage between B&B chain and abstract. And the reason that you'd want to do that is if the price is different between the two chains, you can make a profit. But the real benefit of introducing that feature is that, again, in line with our goals of making it so that it's as simple as possible to get involved in Blue, we don't want people to have to check the prices on two chains. We don't want people to have to say, okay, it's cheaper on B&B, I better go buy it here and then bridge it over. We want people to just buy it where it's easier for them, right? So the dual stack rewards are available on Abstract, which means that for the majority of people, especially this next big wave of users that are going to be coming to Blue, they're just going to go right through Abstract. And that's why I didn't include any information about the B&B price on the GBlue website. I don't want to confuse people. I don't want to, you don't want to make people think twice about things. Like, Abstract is where you earn double the rewards. So this is where you want to be with your GBlue. Is it possible to zap the rewards back into the LP? That's something that we can definitely add. So I mean, I personally think it's a really smart idea to be locking your ABX, but no, we can definitely add an option here to zap ABX in, and we can, nothing technically stopping us from doing that. And yeah, some people probably do want to, compound their rewards back into the LP. So that's probably a pretty good option to add. So that would be tremendous. Yeah. So yeah, we can definitely add that. But again, so like just going back to just making things as simple as possible for people to enter, we want guys to just say, okay, if I want to zap into the LP, all I need some ETH on Abstract, and I just zap in and I'm good to go. I'm earning on my GBlue. I'm earning on, the LP rewards. Is the lock bonus still available? Yep. So the 70% lock bonus is over. So the question is referring to, on a Borean, when you take your ABX and you lock it up for VE ABX, there's a promotion that's ongoing related to the Ascension seasons, like it's the Ascension program. And we're now just started season 3 as of, I guess, this morning. So now in season 3, the bonus is 49%. So we did just have a 70% bonus. So 49% is still huge. I think even without a bonus, it still makes a lot of sense to be locking up your ABX. I'll pull up the ABX chart in a second. It's really looking strong. Like, it looks like the bottom is in on ABX. And, and again, there's a lot of analysis we can do on that based on, what other similar type dexes, what their token price performances look like, what their chart looked like around launch. And, if you just look at the chart without taking any of that into consideration, it looks like it's going, just straight down, but that's really not the case. It's something where with the emissions, pretty much all of these dexes, they have that big pump on the launch day. Then, there's a downward trajectory. Then there comes a point where the metrics are just way too strong, right? Like in terms of how much fees are being generated versus the emissions. And a couple other metrics. And we're at that point right now where like ABX is just like a very easy, obvious buy. If you look at just like the revenue and the fees that it generates versus the market cap, and, liquidity to market cap ratio is insane. Like any of these different really important metrics you look at, they're extremely strong, and we're starting to see a reversal in the chart. So, but again, we're talking about 340% APY or APR. And that is that's just how much ABX you're getting. If you're taking advantage of the 49% bonus, you can pretty much add like an extra 49% to that. So it starts to get pretty crazy. And again, this is not a small TVL pool. We've got $102,000 in there. And that's, that yield is based on that TVL. So we still have a lot of room for that TVL to grow and still have a really strong yield. Of course, as the ABX token appreciates in value, the yield also increases. So that's looking to get stronger and stronger. And again, for our TVL, to grow a lot, let's say, go to 200K, we've already had a huge chunk of the blue on B&B chain bridged over to Abstract. That number is constantly increasing. And again, with the ARB opportunities and the next wave of users that are going to come in, largely on the Abstract side, we're going to have more and more blue bridged over to Abstract, which is really going to create a supply shock. I got a question here. Is that 49% for the season only? Yeah, so the 49% is going to be for all of season 3, which is going to last a month, and then it gets reduced again for season 4. I think it's like somewhere around 34%, somewhere in that range for season 4. So you got a whole month of the 49% bonus ahead of us right now. So, so again, going back to what I was saying though, so basically we don't want people to have to think about what chain they're buying on. The way that we do that is we make sure the prices are, you know, as close in line as they can be, right? So you can, so anybody can just come to the GBlue website and zap in and not even have to think about, oh, I wonder if it's cheaper on B&B, right? So, and that's, you know, our community has been doing a pretty good job of arbing between the two chains. You know, I think there was one day where we had like a 20% price difference between the chains for a couple hours, but that quickly got sorted out. And since then, I haven't seen anything more than like a 5% difference between the two chains. But when a lot of inflows come in on Abstract, I expect the GBlue price on Abstract to, you know, go higher and be, you know, if we don't get that same amount of buy pressure on B&B chain, it's going to cause the prices to be out of line. So obviously you guys can arb that manually. But, you know, now I'm going to demonstrate a feature where it kind of shows you how you can use a tool that I created to arb that yourselves very easily in a single transaction. So I still need to make some improvements to how this page looks. I'm not super thrilled about it, but it does do the job of getting you all the information that you need to be able to do an arbitrage transaction. So let's just go through this. I know this can be a lot to take in. And again, I think with better design, it'll probably be a little bit more straightforward. So I'll be working on that. So the first thing is we got some indicators about whether it's worth trying to arb right now or not. So this is a nice indicator here, spread status. There's minimal opportunity right now. Spread is under 3%. Fees and slippage likely remove profit. So this is going to say something different depending on how big of a difference there is between the prices on both chains. So right now we're just shy of 3% difference between the chains. So down here is where you come to basically get started with the arb transaction. I'm actually going to do this the wrong way. So right now I'd actually want to be buying on B&B and selling on Abstract because Abstract's more expensive. But I'm just going to do a small test just to demo it for you. And I happen to have USDC on Abstract right now. So that's the direction I'm going to take. So you're going to actually see here, it's going to estimate like, let's just say do $20. So you can see here, $20. This is a new feature I just added yesterday, I think it was. So you can have a guard on how much you want to receive on the other chain. So if you turn that off, basically what's going to happen is, well, actually, let me just rewind a little bit. Let me just tell you how this works. So when I execute this transaction, what's going to happen is it's going to buy GBlue on Abstract. And again, this is all in a single transaction. It's going to buy GBlue on Abstract. It's going to use the USDC, so my 20 USDC that I input. It's going to use that USDC to buy GBlue. It's going to automatically bridge the GBlue to B&B chain. When it does that bridge, it goes to the contract that I've deployed. So there's a contract on Abstract, there's a contract on B&B chain, and they kind of handle this whole arbitrage logic. So it bridges the GBlue to the contract on B&B chain with a message attached to it that basically gives it all the details of the arb, like what user needs to receive the funds. You know, if you happen to set a minimum, like if you turn this feature on, it's going to pass that information across as well, among, you know, a couple other things. So once the GBlue heads over to B&B chain, as some of you guys I'm sure are aware, GBlue doesn't trade on B&B chain. We have blue in the B&B chain LP. So this automatically handles converting your GBlue to blue. It does that by unstaking. It will then sell your blue for USDC, and then you'll receive USDC on B&B chain. And this all happens in a single transaction. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So let's go ahead and demo this. So and also I should explain that if your minimum isn't reached, so if I put this to 20, I'm not going to get $20 on B&B chain. So because it's a transaction that, while it does all happen in only a single transaction that you submit, because it involves two chains, we can't revert the transaction on the origin chain. So what's going to happen in this case, if I were to submit it just the way that you see it now with 20 here, with a 20 minimum, but I'm only estimated to get 19, what's going to happen is on B&B chain, it's going to see that I'm not going to get 20 USDC from my GBlue. It's going to send me the GBlue instead. So this is a way to protect you in case you're doing like a large ARB transaction. Maybe somebody's watching real close, or they set up a bot or something, and they're going to try and mess with the price on the destination chain before your transaction goes through. This is a good safeguard to like stop, any potential losses there, in case, someone's trying to manipulate the price or something like that. So that's kind of, so basically you're going to receive GBlue on the destination if the minimum doesn't get reached, right? So I'm just going to set this to something lower just to make sure that it goes through, or I could just turn it off. Same difference basically. But let's go ahead and submit that first. Let's actually pull up. I'll just find them. So here's GBlue, and let's open up Blue. And we're going to watch the transactions on the charts after I execute this. So let's just zoom in a little bit. Oops. Too much. Okay. So again, we're going to submit this, and we're going to watch it buy $20 on Abstract, bridge the GBlue over to B&B chain, and sell the blue on B&B chain and send me some USDC. So let's see how that all works. So I'm submitting right now. And here's Abstract. I'm sure that already went through. I guess Deck Screener is just slow. Because that one should happen instantly. There it is. Yep, so that was 15 seconds ago. Now let's see how long it takes for this sell to happen on B&B chain. There it is. So 10 seconds ago, 30. That was about a 20-second difference between when it bought on Abstract and when it sold on B&B chain. So I know some of you guys have already arbed between the two chains, but you can just see how how much easier and faster that is to use it through this system. So, and again, if we go here now, of course, I had 0 USDC, and now I've got some USDC. So it's really as simple as that. So now anybody can arb between chains. It takes a single transaction. If you want to be ready in advance, just in case like somebody does a big buy or a big sell on one of the chains, and all of a sudden there's a big opportunity, just, have some USDC handy on both chains. That way you're ready to, arb either direction. I have a handy link here to get like B&B USDC. This is going to pull this up with USDC already pre-populated on both chains. So you can very quickly and easily use Relay to get USDC where you need it. These bridges typically complete in a couple seconds. So you really don't need to maintain like a bunch of USDC on both chains. As long as you got any assets ready, you can really get USDC super quick using Relay. But yeah, so, and again, the purpose of this is just to make it so that anybody can make money doing arbitrage. And that's going to make it so that people can enter on any chain that they want without having to think about it, because, we can pretty much know that there's never really going to be a huge difference between the two prices, not for any extended period of time, just because of how easy it is to kind of equalize those prices. Anybody have any questions about how the arbitrage works? Happy to answer technical questions or just feature questions or anything, or if you guys have any comments about it, love to hear it. And again, I think that this page needs to be improved a little bit just to make it a little bit more clear exactly what's happening. I mean, it is really simple, right? It's USDC in, USDC out. On the chain that is cheaper, that's where you start with USDC, and you end up with USDC on the destination chain. Sounds like a stack of USDC will be quite useful to keep around. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be super quick to do it, if you want to be the first one to take advantage of an opportunity, then yeah, not having to bridge around some USDC is going to give you a little bit of an advantage there. So I do still have this warning in here about the experimental feature. I had that in like right from when I very first built this, but I have built in a lot of extra safeguards and a lot of, um, fail safes, I guess, to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So like one example of that is um, if we have a rebase ready to be triggered, you can't stake or unstake blue if a rebase is ready to be triggered, right? So this would have caused a problem in the ARB contract if it's trying to stake or unstake and it can't. That would cause an issue. So now, as one example of an improvement that was recently made to the ARB contract is it will now check if a rebase is ready to be triggered, and it will actually trigger it itself if it's ready. So that just kind of prevents that problem altogether. Plus a bunch of safeguards were put in terms of like minimum outputs. And of course, the most important one was, it's sending the minimum USDC that you want to receive. It's sending that across the bridge transaction so that the destination chain knows the minimum USDC amount. Actually, I guess I can show you guys the transactions. So like here was the buy. So, 20 USDC came from me. Bunch of stuff happened, and then the end of that was 3G blue was sent to the bridge. You can tell because it got burned. Then if we go to B&B chain, this is not my wallet, but this is like the layer 0 executor, the basically what processes the logic that I attach to the bridge transaction. I guess that's probably the simplest way to explain that. So yeah, you can see that basically the G blue came in from the bridge and it burns it, or so the G blue gets unstaked, which then burns the G blue when you unstake it. You got 40 blue for the 3G blue, and it goes to USDC, which got sent to me. So and again, this all happened just with me just pressing submit once, right? So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I was working on this for like 8 hours straight. I just was on a mission to get it fully figured out and working, and I got her done. Will it be possible to zap in with ABX to the G Blue LP? Yeah, that was just asked earlier. That's something that I didn't add it yet, just because I think that it's really a smart move to to be locking up your ABX, especially like with the bonus that they have right now. And but yeah, I think that's an option that we can add. Well, like from a technical standpoint, there's no reason why we can't add it. So just a matter of adding that to the site and setting it up. But yeah, we can definitely add that. But yeah, but just simple arbitrage is going to make it, so really you don't have to look at prices when you enter. You can just take ETH and zap in on the G Blue site. And once again, just to reiterate what I said at the very beginning, like there's a strong reason why I'm building all these things out, and it's going to become very obvious to you guys soon. And again, I've been building my positions up, and you guys should be building up your positions, and you will be rewarded for it in the near future. Not financial advice, but big things are coming. Yeah, just check the bonus for locking. I'm going to stick with locking. Yeah, like the 70% bonuses for last season, like that just went out this morning. So everybody that locked ABX last season, you got a or last week, or I guess to be specific, last epoch, you got a 70% bonus this morning for all the ABX that you locked last week. So, again, that's like saying, okay, instead of 345% APR, you tack, well, now it's, tack an extra 49% on top of that. So, and again, and this is dual stack rewards, right? So you're still earning on your G Blue while you're getting all this other stuff, right? So it's pretty crazy. Let's see what I got next. I'll give you guys a protocol position update. Like I mentioned, we introduced the ETH bonds on the B&B side. Actually, let's do a bond update. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, so there was a big discount on the ETH bond yesterday. It looks like that got eaten up. But yeah, the ETH bond market was established so that the protocol, well, it was established for a couple of reasons. For one, I know what the inflows are going to look like in the near future. So, bonding markets are great to have when you're either having positive price action or you're going to be having positive price action very soon. So great time for us to have bonding markets to build up the treasury. But the ETH bond market specifically, I've been using that to build up a protocol owned position in Aborian, which has been doing exceptional. So let's pull that up. Here it is right here. So you can see we've got a $17,200 position in the ETH G Blue pair. We've got 176 bucks of rewards just sitting there. I'll claim those at some point. Here's the lock. So, I mean, just if you rewind just a week ago, the protocol didn't have any VEABX or any ABX. With the bonus that was received this morning, I already merged that lock into my existing lock. So that's why you don't see a whole bunch of locks here. There's only 2. Like there was like 5 in this wallet earlier today until I merged them all. But over 200,000 locked ABX. And this was all just from earnings in the last week plus the bonus. So this is huge. This is going to, deliver rewards to the protocol every single week in voting rewards. And it's going to give us more and more power to be able to vote and bump up those emissions on the gauge. So this is huge. I suggest you guys do the same thing to whatever level you can, whatever scale you can. But the protocol is going real hard and it's paying dividends already. So, and again, that's a $2,000 position that the protocol earned in the last week, right? So that's with the current ABX price. I wouldn't be surprised if ABX is back to pushing 5-10 cents in the near future. At 10 cents, that's a $20,000 position that we just created in the last week, right? So very massive for the protocol and for future protocol earnings that we can use to either do buybacks or pay for marketing or do, any number of different things to benefit the protocol. Make huge waves, Aaron. I'm doing everything I can to make it happen. Can I just check the link you sent was for AGW wallet because it goes to Abstract login page? Yes, that's the same thing. Like logging into Abstract is basically like logging into AGW. Like let me go there and log out just to show you. So if I log out, so this is like the entry point, right? So you can log in with a wallet. I personally use Google to log in. And so once you log in with Google, you're all set up and good to go. You can see your wallet. Like I don't have much assets in here, but you can see your wallet address there. You can send funds to it. One thing to be careful about though is like this wallet address is an Abstract global wallet only wallet address. So don't send funds to that address on any other chain. Make sure that you do it only on Abstract. Like something that you could do is if you want to bridge over to Abstract, you can like set your destination to something else, right? So you can say like paste a wallet address and put in your Abstract global wallet. Just again, make sure that you're doing it properly, right? Like you make sure that the Abstract chain is the destination and make sure that, you can set that wallet address there, or you can just bridge to Abstract and transfer it to your AGW. There's a bunch of different ways you can do that. But yeah, sorry, got derailed there for a second. Once you have your Abstract global wallet set up, then you can just any Abstract DApp like a Borean or like GBlue or like even the Blue website. You just when you click Abstract, it just brings up a little thing where you can basically just approve your connection. Or if you haven't signed in, you can log in with the same method that you used to create your AGW in the first place. Haven't understand WETH GBlue positions or ABX positions. I'm going to need you to rephrase that question. I'm not really sure what you're asking. I mean, if you don't understand anything about what's going on with ETH and GBlue, then maybe just going to gblue.xyz and just reading the website might be a good start there, or watching back some of the watching back this AMA from the beginning or the previous 2 AMAs would be good sources of knowledge related to that. But if you want to clarify the question, I'm happy to answer. I think is the final thing I'm got for you guys is just like, well, I know that the broader markets took a bit of a dump. It's like it seems like every time they go up, it comes right back down. But let's see what ETH is doing. Yeah, so ETH took a pretty hard dump, not in the last hour or so. So the ABX price obviously was impacted by that, but it's definitely looks like it's formed a nice, this is on the hour chart. It's looks like we're in for the reversal. And again, this little dump here was just due to the broader markets. But I think it's a great time to be establishing an ABX position, and I think it's if you've got a G Blue ETH position, I'd strongly suggest taking that ABX and locking it up and building yourself a income stream that you'll have forever. Every week you get paid out in those voting rewards, and the bigger your VABX position, the more those rewards are going to be. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Like I wish I could say more about what's coming. All I can say is that I've been building up my positions like crazy. I'm not talking about the protocol position. I'm talking about personal positions. I've been buying G Blue almost every day, usually by zapping in with ETH on the G Blue on the abstract side of things. Yeah, I mean, I'd suggest for to take advantage of what's coming, what I'd suggest you guys do is, for one, have as much blue exposure as you can. I strongly recommend farming in the G Blue ETH LP. Although I will say that if, depending on the size of your position, you might not want to put all of your G Blue into the ETH G Blue LP, just because, when we get big price movement, if all of your exposure to G Blue is in the LP, a lot of that's going to get converted to ETH when the price increases. So again, if you have a massive position, maybe you're fully cool with that. If you got a smaller position, essentially, if you're just holding just G Blue, for example, and you want to start farming ABX with the G Blue ETH LP, if you zap all of your G Blue in, you're essentially selling half your G Blue at the current price, which is not the greatest. And then you're also losing some exposure to the upside. So if anyone's already done that and you want to kind of rewind that decision, you can, oops, did not mean to close that. You can kind of fix that just by, you can zap out to G Blue, right? So you can see here, if I zap out to G Blue, it's just going to kind of reverse, if you zapped in with G Blue earlier, it's going to basically like remove some of your LP, and it's going to swap some ETH over to G Blue, and it's going to send G Blue to you. So I would suggest you guys hold some G Blue on the side and, get as big of a farming position as you can. It's a really unique opportunity. Can you show the lock process? I think you mentioned that once you vote, that vote remains unless you revote and change it to another token combination. Yep, I can show you guys that. So let's let me just connect. I'll connect with the protocol wallet here, because I think I had some ABX to connect there, or to collect, not connect. So we've got a pretty healthy 62 LPs here. Earning 163 bucks a day in ABX, not too shabby, and got 177 bucks worth of ABX we can collect right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops. Stupid MetaMask. Okay. Just claiming that right now. All right, that's been claimed. Look, we already made another ABX already. So let's head over to Aborian. So now that I have some ABX in my wallet, I just claimed from my G Blue ABX position. I would go create. I've got 20,000 ABX here ready to go. So I'm just going to pop this over to 100, and I'm going to drag this right to the end for 4 years. I'm going to create the lock. Maybe better to buy more G Blue. I zapped all my G Blue over to the LP. Yeah, so I mean, you can't go too wrong being in the LP. I mean, that's how you get the dual stack rewards. Like I'm a huge fan of the LP. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that, it's one thing if you hold a bunch of G Blue and then you paired it up with a bunch of ETH, that's one thing. But like, to take all your G Blue and zap it in, you're basically selling half of it at what I would consider pretty close to the bottom. Like, we've had a bit of a bump in price since we've expanded to abstract, but trust me when I say we haven't seen anything yet. So you might be regretting that decision in the future when the price of G Blue explodes, right? So yeah, I mean, you can definitely, you got a couple options. You can buy more blue, more G Blue. You can zap out of your LP. There's a bunch of different things you can do to get more exposure to blue. But yeah, again, as much as I love the LP, I think that you should probably maintain some exposure to G Blue, and especially if you zap all your G Blue, and again, you sold half of it at what I would consider pretty close to the bottom. So sorry, I was talking. I didn't submit this transaction. I'm just going to submit it now. So I just submitted it, and now I've got a lock. So what can I do with this lock? Well, for one, if I want to, I can make it permanent. You can change permanent and unpermanent anytime. So if I made this permanent, I can go back and switch it to not be permanent. All permanent does is it basically just keeps it max locked, right? So I've got it locked for almost 4 years, but you can see like I'm actually missing, I don't know, what is that, like 50 or so, 60. I'm missing 60 ABX of voting power because this is not like locked right to the absolute 4 years to the second, right? Because it rounds to the week, right? So if I know I want to keep this locked for the maximum duration, that's the benefit of using of switching it to permanent, because that's just going to make sure that as you can see here, your locked amount and your voting power are identical, right? So that's what, and again, you can change that whenever you want. Oh, so I got to reset my votes before I can disable it. But so basically I already voted with this, so I actually can't switch this right now. But next epoch, I could reset my votes, and then I could switch this off of permanent mode if I wanted to. But I'll be honest with you guys, there's not much reason to switch it off permanent unless you're just trying to merge locks, right? So actually, I'll demo that for you guys. So I've got this lock right here, and this lock is already voted. This lock is permanent. So this lock, I can merge another lock into this lock. I can't merge this lock into another lock until next epoch. So because I've got this lock here that I just created, it hasn't voted yet, and it's not in permanent mode, which means that it's in the perfect state to get merged. So if I just hit merge and I drop down to that one, merging is permanent, cannot be undone. Also, warning guys, make sure you collect all your rewards before you do this. So if this is a brand new lock, I have no rewards on it, so I don't have to check. But if you're merging locks that you've already done votes with in the past, make sure you collect your rewards before you do this, or you're going to lose them. So I can just go ahead and merge this. Done. So now I've got one less lock, but my locked amount in voting power has jumped up, and now it's merged. So pretty straightforward. Yes, I wasn't thinking clearly. No, I don't. It's not that, it's a tough thing because like on the one hand, like I think the dual stack rewards is like such an insane opportunity that I think like, yeah, you should go super hard into it. It's just that when you take into consideration the price action that's around the corner, and if you already were holding blue or G Blue and you zapped in, it's not a bad thing to do. You're just losing a lot of exposure to the upside of G Blue. That's, so don't beat yourself up about it. But the price right now it didn't rocket yet. So, there's time right now to correct that and get some of that G Blue exposure back. And again, there's lots of ways to do that. You can just buy G Blue. You can do that, right on the swap page here, the swap tab of the Zap page. Where is the link to relay to swap ETH over to Abstract Chain? Pretty sure I saw it earlier on the site. We got it a bunch of places. Do I have it here? Bridge to Abstract? Nope. Okay, I've got to put the link more places. Oh, wait, there's one place I know for sure it is. It's on the Arb page. If you just click get B&B USDC or get Abstract USDC, this is going to bring you here. And then, it's a really easy URL to remember, but yeah, I definitely got to put more links on the sites to make it easier to find. I just shot that link into the chat for you. But if you use the link on the site though, it does bring you with like the right chains already selected, because I figure most of you guys are probably going from B&B to Abstract or vice versa. So makes it a little bit easier, a couple less things to click on. But yeah, I know it might be hard to get pumped about something if I'm not saying what it is, but just, you gotta trust me. The timing's not 100% in my control, but something very big is coming. So just I'm going to keep preparing as best I can. That means both my personal positions and also just improving the tooling, the websites, getting everything set up to take maximum advantage. And let's all just be ready to welcome a lot of Abstract members into the community. Feels to me it's almost better to create a lock than to put it in the LP. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what your goals are. They're both such good options that it's hard to say one way or the other. Like if you've got fresh capital, then you obviously have a lot more flexibility because you can make a lock with your rewards. I mean, or you can use your reward ABX to build up your LP and then just buy ABX on its own whenever you feel like it's a good opportunity, which I think that's any time around these price levels is a great opportunity in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong either way. The locked ABX is a no-brainer. Building your LP bigger is a no-brainer. So again, a lot of it depends on like how big is your current LP position? Are you still like actively trying to grow it? Are you pretty happy with the size of it? Do you already have a huge VE ABX position? I mean, I'm just giving you guys some things to think about because I mean, I don't necessarily follow those guidelines myself. Like I already have large VE ABX positions and I'm still locking more tokens every day. I've already got a huge LP position, but I'm making it bigger every day. So, I mean, it just really depends on what your goals are and I guess your risk tolerance and, what you think is going to outperform. Too many good options. Yep. Well, I guess it's better to have too many good options than a lot of bad options. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys today. If you guys have any feedback on any of the stuff that's being built or on anything really, happy to check it out and comment. Or if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in. Yeah, so I mean, guys, I'd recommend setting up an AGW wallet. I mean, it's something where just interacting with it, you're going to start earning Abstract XP, and you can get Abstract badges. And nobody knows for sure what that's going to mean in the future, but it's probably going to involve maybe. Well, I have no idea myself, but it could involve an airdrop in the future. Who knows? But the guys on Abstract really love their XP, and probably a good reason for that. So, love the new site, provides more clarity and is way less cluttered. Yeah, that's Abstract's the consumer chain. So we've themed it Abstract themed. We've built in AGW to the very best of our ability, taking advantage of all of its advantages, and yeah, it's going to be huge for us. You don't need to take my word for it. You can we'll wait and see. Because it's going to materialize very soon. What is the link to the Zap site? So, I mean, everybody knows our main site is bluebnb.xyz. We do have the zapping functionality here. We also have a link to the GBlue site on the main site. So, but the website address is gblue.xyz. I'll put that into the chat. Got a question. Are you planning to do any marketing with the new GBlue website for Abstract Chain? Yep, we've got that all under control, and it will all make sense in the near future. Do you think the big announcement will be this month or into 2026? So we're halfway through December right now. I'll peg it at about a 80% chance of happening this month. I mean, I guess we're coming into the holidays next week, so if it wasn't like end of the year holidays, I'd say almost for sure this month, but just because of the holidays coming up, I don't know, let's say 60-40 or 70-30 chance of it happening this month. I really don't know. I'm just making a guess, but whenever it happens, it's going to be worth the wait. So, and it might happen tomorrow, right? So position yourselves accordingly. Are you going to be buying GBlue at $30? Not financial advice. All right, let's see if any other questions or comments roll in. And got one here. Thanks for your hard work. Great stuff. My pleasure. It's been really fun working on this. I had a ball making that Arbitrage contract stuff. That was really fun building out. It's like the first time I saw it actually go through successfully, I just like, yes, that's awesome. So you use the AGW to swap ETH to GBlue, or would it be better to buy blue on BSC and stake to GBlue and HODL? So again, like this is the reason why I'm making it like so easy to arb, because I don't want you guys to have to worry about like what chain you're buying on, right? Like, I mean, if you want to make sure you're getting the very best price, like you can just, I mean, probably the easiest place to do it now is right on the arb page, right? So the prices are within, 2% of each other. So it really doesn't make a difference. There's a bit more liquidity on Abstract, so you can take that into consideration. But I would just say that there's more you can do with your GBlue on Abstract, right? Because I mean, holding GBlue does the same thing no matter what chain it's on. Abstract also has the ability to obviously farm the GBlue ETH LP. So I'd say for most people, what you want to do is probably just get ETH on Abstract, and whether you do that through a traditional wallet or you do that through AGW, that's up to you. But yeah, just get ETH on Abstract, and then you can either swap it to GBlue using the GBlue site, or you can zap it in. And I mean, you always have the ability to bridge back to B&B using the bridge. But again, like a lot of these things are more advanced things that like, I know a lot of our community is quite advanced. You guys have been around DeFi and stuff for a lot of years now. So this stuff is all second nature to you. So, but like, I'm really trying to make this so that to get the next, I was going to say 1,000, but let's be more realistic, the next 10 or 15,000 blue holders on board, we got to be a little bit more consumer friendly. So because of that, I'm really building things up so you don't have to worry about what chain. So in general, I would just suggest probably buy it on Abstract. And again, there's thicker liquidity there too. So for big trades, you're going to get less price impact. And then somebody else, some of the again, I don't know how advanced or you are particularly, but just in general, more advanced users can like play around with like the ARB features to keep the prices in line. But yeah, for most people, I would just say just head over to Abstract and zap in or buy there. But yeah, I mean, if you really want to min-max it, like you can head to the ARB page and see where it's cheaper, and Abstract's cheaper right now anyway, so that just makes sense to buy there. But if B&B was cheaper, you could buy it on B&B and stake it and then bridge it and then do it that way. But you're really just making yourself like a lot of extra steps for yourself for no real benefit for the most part. Right. Because I mean, that's again, I've already said this a couple of times, but that's why I'm building out all the tooling that I'm building out, so that like there's no advantage to doing it the difficult way. I want to make it so that the easy way is not just the easy way, it's also just as good or the best way, right? Thanks for the thrilled AMA. Keep up the good work. You bet, man. The direction things are going, it's looking glorious, and I'm glad to have all you guys with me on the journey. And I'm going to be ordering Lambos next year, all of us. So call up the dealership, tell them to get your reservation set up. Late to the party, going to replay. Peace, blue brethren. Yes. Yeah, watch back. It's a juicy one. Glad you can make it. Better late than never. All right, let's give it another 10, 20 seconds, see if any other comments roll in. Oh, went almost exactly an hour. Yeah, I should be able to tell my coffee's cold now. Great AMA, very excited for the future. Great work, bro. Thanks, man. All right, guys. So I'll just conclude with something big is coming, and position yourselves accordingly, and you will be rewarded. Well, I'll see you guys around the community, and I'll keep building out the tooling to make sure that we can take maximum advantage of what's coming our way soon. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and yeah, see you guys around the community.